It was a quiet Thursday evening, like any other, when I first noticed something was off. We had always shared our evenings together, watching TV, eating dinner, or just talking about the day. But lately, Olivia had been distant. I tried to ignore it at first, telling myself that maybe she was just tired from work or stressed out about something. After all, we had been together for 5 years, and every relationship had its ups and downs. But this time, it felt different. That night, Olivia was out late again. It had become a pattern. She would claim to have long meetings or catch up with friends, and each time I would stay home, alone. I sat on the couch, staring at my phone, waiting for her to reply to my messages. Nothing. Hours passed, and the silence grew louder. I told myself not to overthink it. People get busy, and she had always been someone with a full social life. But there was a nagging feeling in my chest that I could not shake. The first clue came in the most unexpected way. One morning, as I was getting ready for work, I noticed a receipt on the kitchen counter. It was for a restaurant I had never heard of, and the date matched one of the nights she was supposedly at a late meeting. I stared at the receipt for a moment, trying to make sense of it. Why would she lie about something so small? It was just dinner, right? But my gut told me there was more to it. I did not bring it up right away. I wanted to believe there was a reasonable explanation. Maybe she went with a colleague or friend, but then she started mentioning a new name, David. Casually, in conversation, she would drop his name as if I was supposed to know who he was. David thinks this, or David and I were talking about that. I did not know any David, and she had never mentioned him before. The more she talked about him, the more uneasy I became. One night, we were sitting on the couch and she made an offhand comment about feeling trapped in the relationship. It was a small comment, almost joking, but it stuck with me. I asked her what she meant by that, and she quickly brushed it off, saying she was just tired and stressed. But her words lingered in my mind, echoing long after she had fallen asleep beside me. The distance between us grew. She spent more time out, and when she was home, she was distracted, glued to her phone, or lost in thought. I tried to confront her once, asking if something was wrong, but she reassured me with a smile that everything was fine, but it was not fine. I could feel it deep in my bones. Something was happening, something I could not ignore anymore. I began to pay closer attention to the little things, the way she avoided eye contact when I asked about her day, the way she seemed to pull away when I tried to hold her hand, the way she would quickly lock her phone whenever I came into the room. I was starting to see the cracks in the facade, but I was not ready to admit what they meant. Not yet. The second clue came when I found her phone left unlocked on the kitchen counter. I am not proud of it, but I looked through her messages. There it was, David. Their conversations were casual at first, but there was an intimacy to them, a familiarity that made my stomach churn. They were texting late at night, sharing jokes, and making plans to meet. I read the words over and over, my heart pounding in my chest, trying to convince myself that I was overreacting. But I knew in that moment that there was more between them than just friendship. I did not confront her right away. I needed more proof, something undeniable. Over the next few weeks, I became obsessed with finding out the truth. I started following her when she said she had late meetings, driving behind her car at a distance, hoping I was wrong. But each time, she ended up at the same place, the same restaurant from the receipt, the one she had lied about, and each time, David was there. The final clue came on a rainy evening. She told me she had a work event and would be home late. I followed her again, parking a few blocks away, watching from the shadows. They walked out of the restaurant together, laughing, her arm casually draped over his. I watched as they got into his car and drove off. My heart shattered in that moment, the weight of the betrayal crushing me from the inside. I drove home in silence, my mind racing. The evidence was there, all of it pointing to the same conclusion. Olivia was cheating on me. But even as I sat in the dark, the realization sinking in, I could not bring myself to confront her. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to demand answers, to know why she had done this to us. But another part of me was paralyzed with fear. What if I was wrong? What if there was some other explanation, some reason that made sense? When she came home that night, soaked from the rain, she smiled at me like nothing had changed. I felt the tears welling up in my eyes, but I held them back. I could not let her see me break. Not yet. We went to bed in silence, her body curled up next to mine, as if everything was still the same. But I knew better now. The distance between us was not just emotional, it was physical, tangible, like a wall that could never be torn down. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, my mind filled with 1,000 questions. Should I confront her? Should I walk away? Could I ever forgive her for what she had done? The betrayal cut deeper than anything I had ever felt before, but I was not ready to let go. Not yet. As I watched her sleep beside me, peaceful and unaware of the storm raging inside me, I realized that I was at a crossroads. I could choose to confront her, to demand the truth, or I could choose to stay silent and live with the uncertainty. Either way, my heart would never be the same. The night stretched on, and I found myself trapped between two impossible choices. The love I had for her, and the pain of her betrayal. The truth and the lies. And as the dawn broke, I still did not know which path I would take.